chill with me, I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, and we can link up. It's not a hookup, don't think about it too much, too much. You just need to pick up, then we can link up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. Do you think about the days when we sat down smoking wine and drinking haze? Or was it the other way? Was it the other way? Swing now, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, then we can link up. It's not a hookup, don't think about it too much, too much. You just need to pick up, then we can link up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much, too much. Swing round, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, then we can link up. It's not a hookup, don't think about it too much, too much. You just need to pick up, then we can link up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. Do you think about the days when we sat down smoking wine and drinking haze? Or was it the other way? Was it the other way? Swing now, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, then we can link up. It's not a hookup, don't think about it too much, too much. You just need to pick up, then we can link up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much, too much.
How do you feel as the start time approaches?
I don't feel at all.
Like this, biatch.
But they don't know. Think
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are here. Well, me and Kazuto, joined by Kazuto, as usually in these Tavern Gamecasts for game number 2 of the day, match number 2, rather. And today we are going to be seeing two teams face off. Kazuto, you mind to tell us about these two teams?
First up, we got the Subway Pizza Rats looking like their new player, Dainty Taco, in the top lane. Jungle Mothra, Mike swapping over to the mid lane. Then you got Halcyon, Crockett in the bot lane. Interesting to see this, how this Dainty Taco pickup is going to work. Uh, Definitely, he's played with these guys before in past leagues. You know, solid player. He's probably just going to be looking to play those tanks, give their team a little bit more stability, and they're probably just looking to, team fight, funnel
Yeah,
around this Halcyon.
yeah, puts his hard hat on, grabs his lunchbox, and just gets to work. Just an honest day's work there in the top lane from Dainty Taco for the Subway Pizza Rats. And their opponents on the other side of the rift will be Captain Morgan's Lads. In the top lane will be Fluffy, jungle will be Kid Boo, mid B-Sin, and bot lane Tortuga and Without Pride hold it down in the bottom lane. Thoughts on this team?
Oh, they got Tortuga, the original Jinx Dragon Stealer. I think typically
True.
when this team has found success, it has come from rather the Fluffy Kid Buu combo in the top lane. We've seen Kid Buu play around Fluffy pretty well. Fluffy liking to play those carry type champs like the Aurelia, like the Camille. I'm not sure if he's busted out a Kale yet, but it is in the pool, so we'll see if he decides to play up there or if they will play around Tortuga. But you got B-Sin solid in the mid lane, always just
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, just a little bit of the Himothy over there for B-Sin. But yeah, honestly, excited to see this matchup here. Juxtaposing these two teams for Captain Morgan's Lads. You kind of have Fluffy there in the top lane, looking to be a more carry-oriented role historically. Same with Kid Buu in the jungle. And on the other side of the coin, for SPR, you have Taco in the top lane and Mothra in the jungle, who are two players that are usually trying to play more of the tanky style in the game. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out for the draft. And you just kind of see these dueling styles. And it's really going to come down to, I think, these mid laners and AD carries to be what's the decider here.
Yep, and traditionally Mike as well, when he plays the mid lane, he does like more of just the wave clearing kind of roam champs like the Rise and Galio. We'll see if he goes for one of these here. Hasn't played mid in a while. It's the draft. We start off with the classic Sejuani ban onto Boo, not caring about
Yeah,
the Gwen yet. Maybe later,
I
but
expect them to take that
they're
away as well. And
yeah,
there
okay,
it is.
we see it
Yeah,
after.
Warwick
And of
down on the
course
as
the
well.
Mothra and Warwick, of course.
Let's see here. I mean, I expect a good amount of jungle focus, honestly, from both sides. If I'm on the side of Captain Morgan's Lads, I'm looking to take away the Volley Bear and maybe even the Vi as well, just to really force Mothra onto something. But they decide to go for the Galio, so it's a classic Mike champion, as you mentioned.
Yeah, pretty standard on the ban so far. Just target banning, as we do in these leagues. Unfortunately, with Mike switching to the mid lane, they do lose the Violet Bear flex pick that they had between him and Mothra. I don't know if Dainty Taco has that in the pool. As we
And
see
they'll spam it away
another
anyway.
Silas ban for B-Sin. They saw that one game where he was just killing everyone, and they do not want him to ever play this champion again.
Yep, he is getting the treatment there as the Vi, pretty much the third go-to jungle option for Mothra when that Warwick is banned, when that Volley Bear is banned. He will typically fall back onto this champion. Maybe sometimes see the Amumu, always a
Yeah,
Crockett flex to his
even,
chagrin, but
even in our experience playing against him, both on Ultra Lords and or not Ultra Lords, excuse me, Endless Void, and then of course you Endless Noid. Even with all junglers available, Mothra does like to go for this Vi as his first priority pick. So interesting that they leave it open. They have B1 Vi many times from Mothra, and then they instant pick a champion that Vi is gonna really like to be against in the Jinx, where he can just lock her
Ooh,
down. But they do respond with the Maokai to help disengage that Vi pick. So, you
yeah,
know,
and one of my personal favorite picks into the Vi because it's so easy to just when Vi ults your carry, you just press that ult on Maokai, and while Vi is definitely going in because she's unstoppable, the rest of her team can no longer follow up, and you just insta kill the Vi. Some tech you can do on Vi to kind of counter that is go Aftershock, but I doubt we're going to see any big brain Aftershock gamers here. So we will see the Varus locked in for Halcyon, and then
okay.
Braum it looks like as well. Oh, goes for the Rail maybe. Maybe watching MSI. That's to get the Braum. Okay.
Ooh, a classic Crockett Braum. Braum very feared in this league. We've seen a lot of Braum picks and bans. Just no one knowing what to do against this big man with the shield. But really like the Varus pickup for Halcyon, as he is going to be the main source of damage on this roster. They need him to be on a champ that can just pump, and that is going to be this Varus, assuming he goes on hit. But we'll have to see how the Captain Morgan's Lads comp looks to see if it's a good angle for that. So far, it is looking like a good on hit game. As the Fluffy
Yeah, they
Aurelia gets
blind the Aurelia. Yeah, they blind the Aurelia. Now I assume they're just going to ban top laners here. They banned the Malphite already. They probably banned like the Ornn or the Scion or something. Maybe the Shen. We don't want to see a tank matchup. It's
Malphite.
bad for Aurelia, but Malphite already is the great ban, of course. As Victor taken away on the other side.
Yep. So this just tells me that, BSIN likely wants this R5 here. They pick the top lane on R3. They get to slap down a couple protection bans for this Aurelion, the Malphite, and the Poppy. Give them an easier lane. It is a big comfort pick for Fluffy. So I'm sure even if they pick something here that might be good into it, he should be comfortable enough to navigate that matchup. But I imagine a support pick comes through here, unless it is the Maokai support and Kid Buu locks in a champion here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could
Door's
be that
open
support
for Flex.
flex there. Without Pride does play that champion in support, though I do think it's kind of scary to play a champion like Maokai into Braum. If you ever twisted advanced target him, he can leak back even further and then just stun you up, and you're so vulnerable to just getting taken down then with Varus damage with Braum passive. But going down to the wire here for this lock-in, we'll see what they end up going with. Zyra, okay. So that will be a Zyra, just not reflected on the stream there because a bit of a UI bug. So that will be a Zyra in the support and Maokai in the jungle, but I guess those two can still flex. So we'll have to
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I'm unfamiliar if Kid Buu plays the Zyra, but yeah, definitely can still flex them between each other. Like you said, they probably don't want the Maokai support in this matchup. That would be a really abysmal 2v2. They're just giving Varus free reign to do whatever he wants in this game.
Yeah, I would hope that they send that Zyra to the bot lane there and put Maokai in the jungle. Are saving that counter pick for my goat B Sin. We'll see what he ends up going in on the mid lane. Uh, we will just relay the picks to you guys if they don't refresh on screen. We should be able to see these soon here, guys, so just bear with us. And there we go. So that was the Azir picked up for B-Sin in the mid lane, and for the mid lane on the side of SPR, they did take that Malzahar and Ornn for the top lane for Dainty Taco. So pretty straightforward front to back comp with a little dive mixed in for Subway Pizza Rats and Captain Morgan's Lads, really relying on the strength of their solo laners here on these two strong carry champions to come into the game here and have some security for the disengage front to back kind of fighting as well with Maokai Zyra. So overall, I think respectable drafts on both sides.
Yeah, and it does look like it is going to be that Zyra in support with the Maokai
Yes.
jungle. So a little stronger 2v2 here with the Zyra into Braum, giving Jinx, a safer time to kind of scale up in this game. But, Beeson picking the Azir into Malzahar, definitely going to outscale him and deal massive damage in these front to back fights, like you said. But early game, it can be kind of tough for the Azir, as his soldier damage isn't enough to kill the Voidlings in one auto. So Malzahar can freely push in this wave, and he'll have the priority. So we'll see if the Pizza Rats want to go for any, early skirmishes with this Malzahar Prio and the Vi.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I'd love getting an early invade off on any jungler, especially if your mid laner is going to have the push. The hard thing for the side of SPR is going to be the fact that your 2v2 with Vi Malzahar is pretty weak. Until you get that level 6 point, both champions not really the strongest
Sure.
towards the early portion of the game, whereas Maokai just makes Azir stronger because he can hold people in place for the soldier auto attacks. Azir is more mobile as well, so Malzahar might have the push, but I think for me it's going to come down to these support roams. If Crockett is going to be on the move on the map here early to sync up with his jungler and mid laner.
Yeah, and it's good you mentioned the level 6s too, because with this champion combo of Malzahar and Vi, once they're both 6, someone is not going to have a fun time. They are going to be locked down for a very long time. I imagine their best target is going to be that Azir. As soon as they're both 6, Malzahar can just flash ult him, and as soon as that expires, Vi follows up with her ult Q, and the Azir's probably just dead by then, and they can just
Oh yeah,
follow that up any time that those ults are off cooldown.
that is such an easy combo to execute, and if Captain Morgan's lads aren't really respecting with their positioning on how much ease of access there is for the side of SPR to do that to them, it's going to be really tough. Then Vicon has a similar problem as the Azir, though. If she presses that R button, she is going in pretty much no matter what. And if it's on the Azir, if he gets a good shuffle off, he could take her to Narnia, and her team will not be close, especially if you have the Zyra and the Maokai ultimates to kind of zone and create space. There's going to be a pretty big int angle for the Vi in this game if she presses that R button correctly. Same with the Maokai, but I'm going to be watching these ults, see how much value, and weirdly, there's a lethal tempo on the Vi here. So usually the attack speed one you see is Hail of Blades if you go kind of for a lethality build with the Vi, but lethal tempo is new. I haven't seen that, but it doesn't seem like it'd be that bad in like a 1v1 scenario, but I don't know.
Yeah, and we do see comment on Varus as well. So even with this Maokai and potentially Aurelia on top of him, I guess he sees the Jinx Azir Zyra range. He doesn't feel like he's going to have enough space to auto, even with his big front line in front of him. So he is going for the lethality Varus here.
I like it. You just lay down such free damage on top of the Malzahar or Vi ultimates. You just get one W charged arrow. It's just you will be killing someone. So personally,
it is just
I'm
a
a pretty big
little
fan.
worrying for their comp with having Ornn Malzahar, that he's playing the poke Varus. There might lack
That is
damage
true.
if it gets to a late stage in this game.
Yeah,
Definitely
and you
won't
see
be able
all
to
those
keep up with
threats.
the Azir Jinx late game damage if it gets to that point.
Yeah, definitely not. Is a little concerning there as well. For the late game, as you said, might be a potential issue for them. I believe we are loading in here. This ping's going down. Looks like we're aggressively fanning out for the 5 point for the red side.
No invades. Ping into the 5 point.
We got an invade coming here for Crockett. He learned well from being on a team with me for one season. He invades every game, level 1. He's making it happen. And Jinx isn't too far down, so they actually won't spot them on the wrap-up here. They leave a ward, though, behind, so that we'll see them. And you should see the pins coming out here shortly.
Playing very scared here. Investing a ward just in knowing if they're going to invade you or not.
Yeah. And certainly we will not get caught here still. As another ward put down,
Wow.
we'll take that every time. A bit of a wasted ward, and that will be +1 CS to the Braum. So Major Crockett off to a great start. Going to be typing in the chat, as he always does. Man is known to talk a lot in the chat and just flame the enemy team. Off to a good start.
We do see, the trade-off for that invade. Maokai able to walk in and get the ward on blue. So, but, overall, if we're looking at ward trading, we got a 1 for 3. Bot lane's not going to have any vision after those wards expire. So if they're pushing, which they might be with that Zyra, they'll be very Wow. They'll be very vulnerable to the Vi. I'm not even going to attempt that word again.
Susceptible they will be. As we see the Braum Q land, Zyra responds with her own, takes a little bit more damage down there into Crockett, and the top laners just, we don't quite get the standing still and auto-attacking each other fight that we got last weekend. The sight to behold. But we'll see some trading going on there. Is Fluffy going to be getting the better of these pretty much all game? It's a pretty hard matchup for the Ornn to play in general. Going to be keeping an eye up there on the man in the top lane. Already getting some good trade-off, but and avoids the tower shot as well, so very well done. Oh, did it? Okay. It looked like it might not have won, but yeah, his health bar.
But I mean, if Dainty, it doesn't look like he can. If he was able to hold that wave, I know it's, oh, he does hold it a little. If he's able to hold it on his side of the lane, it definitely opens up this Aurelia playing very aggressively to be punished by this Vi. You know, Aurelia definitely wants to constantly be trading with you and go for the solo kills, but you know, if the Ornn can hold out and keep the wave on his side of the lane, but Maokai's hovering for potential gank already, or maybe just scared of the Vi being here.
And he's on a ward as well, so Vi's gonna know exactly what's going on with Boo here, but crucially doesn't go for the invade on the hit blue side, is just going to keep clearing his own blue side.
Spotted by the minion.
Yeah,
Backstopped again. So much tempo lost by this Maokai.
Yeah,
Full cleared top and then just sat in the bush for a long time when Mothra's almost done with his full clear already.
Yeah,
Maokai
I mean, won't get too punished by it. You can just run to the scuttle here and then clear his camp, so not going to get super punished because it is a Vi, didn't invade, but it does feel pretty bad to have all that time wasted there. Some more trading going here in the bot lane. That's a lot of damage on the Tortuga. I think he has to play a little safe now being on this Jinx. And Halcyon, still having that barrier, having a lot more mana, is in a much better spot here in this lane state. Zyra Poke looking pretty annoying though.
Camp. He's going for another gank. Just
he has flash up. This is a flash W angle. We'll see if he actually can get in here. He should just be able to get right onto Halcyon. Does opt to go for the Braum instead, gets the knockback, but Major Crockett should end up falling. Will fall. First blood to the Maokai, and Jinx not quite able to get in range. The flash for Varus will take him out. As top lane here, Fluffy just permanently fighting onto Taco. Not going to hit that knockup, but we'll get the brittle proc down. Aurelia with the fully stacked passive. It does get the solo kill, taking him out. 2 kills now for the side of Captain Morgan's lads. Looking like they had their rum today.
yeah, the Pizza Rats bot lane just had 3 wards up in their inventory, and they're just opting to go for this 2v2 pushed in the lane, not knowing where this Maokai was. And they get punished for it, and then, you know, we see Ornn 2 just pushing too far up. Tried to go for the fight, does miss a couple key abilities there. Ends up losing. Sin dodging the Q, but he dashes forward into them.
Oh no! The big brain dodge, but maybe the brain was just too big, you know. Certainly we could just shuffle it backwards in the flash, but opts to go get a little fancy with it, you know, channeling some faker aura there, but just like this season ends up just inting. So gotta fall. And
yeah, he might have went for that slick play where you E towards them and then you Q backwards, but I think he was out of mana, so he couldn't actually get the Q part of that combo off. Ends up looking a little foolish, but you know, still gonna be able to catch these minions with the TP.
yeah, gonna be pretty fine. The kill goes to the Vi. So just equalizing there on the junglers, each having 1 kill. And as a Maokai, you're not too worried about a champion like Vi having kills unless it gets super out of control. Just because your champion does such a good job countering her, with like we talked about in the draft. And going back to the bot lane here, knowing there's no flash on this Varus, but just gonna end up dying without barrier. And just rooted down as well. Just such a good job by Boo to just put this pressure on here in the bot lane.
Yeah, in the last game, Maokai opting to target the Braum, still has the flash here and he's able to get on the bars this time.
Yeah, gonna burn that flash away from the Vi as well. Just burning flashes all over the place. Is Kid Boo and this Maokai just really well done. And I will say I was doing some mock drafts with Timberland before the series here at Mothra, just to kind of like go over what they thought was gonna happen. And I did pick the Maokai for Kid Boo several times, so he does lock that one in, and kind of showing why it's just such a strong pick in the jungle, and Fluffy showing why this Aurelia is banned from him every game. I don't think we're going to be seeing this one go through again next game.
Yeah, a little bit of I mean, it might not matter too much, but I feel like a little bit of a item mistake for the Ornn. I'd like, you want the Bramble early against this Aurelia, but he opts for the Bomby Cinder. But, items aren't going to matter too much if you're just going to keep taking these bad trades. Like, at this point in the lane, there's not much he can do. He just needs to try to get as much gold as he can and just be there in fights and not give this Aurelia as much gold as he is, but it's hard when you fall this far behind, already a full level.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not going to get better either.
Gold already as well.
Yeah. Nearly 1,000 gold lead for him. Mothra up by a good 400 gold in the jungle, so well played to him to keep that tempo ahead and seeing that Maokai on the map there and getting his camps cleared faster. Just like we talked about, Boo will just be stuck on these cycle of camps now because he does have the later spawns. Gives an opportunity for the Vi to look for an invade here with Ornn, but I don't think they'll really find much as he's already on that top side of the crowds.
Mothra needs to find something with his level 6 here. He hit 6 before the Maokai with his farming. That's the trade-off. Maokai goes for these ganks to give his bot lane a better chance in this lane. He gives Mothra the level 6 first, but Mothra is not accomplishing anything with it really, but there isn't any angles open to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, they didn't really give him an angle here in the solo lanes, and mid lane B he was on a reset. Fluffy also took his reset as well, so a nice push on the mid lane for Malzahar to roam over for these grubs. Should have prio on these to finish them, as we see Kid Buu is going to be on his camp and heading over. Maybe see a fight here, but I don't think you can actually walk up to this as the Maokai. You just kind of get CC'd down and die. So I think
you're going to go for it with the Aurelia flank.
It should just be a free kill, but Mothra hasn't pressed it all. He does press it back there onto Fluffy. A great job from Mothra to reposition with the ultimate and get the CC down onto the Aurelia at the same time. Ends up going back in and hitting that Q onto Kid Buu to take him out as well. And the kill going on to Dainty Taka, who desperately needed it. And he will take the Void Grubs, all three going over to the side of SPR. So well played by the Pizza Rats.
Yeah, really good fight for the Pizza Rats. You see Mothra charging the Q up and he's making it look like he's going to go on the Maokai and Azir, but they very intelligently just used that ult combo that we talked about earlier, where they just locked down the Aurelia that was all of the power for Captain Morgan's lads in this fight. They were able to burst him down, and then they also get the Maokai at the end of that too with no flash, so really good gold swing back to even. Now they have, with that plate, a little bit of a gold lead.
Yeah, and Aurelia is going to keep doing this, though. In spite of that kill, it's not going to be enough to save you from this Aurelia. She is just already so strong, has that pickaxe in inventory, as well as the Vampiric Scepter and the recurve bow, so can pretty much take all of these 1v1s at this point. Zyra ultimately going to go down on the bot side. Speaking of 1v1, we got a 2v2. Nice damage back down onto Tortuga with the Varus, but the arrow just barely going to miss. That might have even killed Tortuga, but he does have that barrier still, as now we see Buu down here in the bot lane. No ultimate, does have that flash, but I don't think they'll look to dive this one. Although I think they could.
Almost up. I wonder when he used that. If he had that right there, he could have got a kill, but must have happened off screen.
They must have been looking for a trade or something. They have been scrapping pretty much the whole game here in the bot side. You love to see it. Pretty even on CS in all of the lanes except top and jungle. We really see kind of an advantage there for Fluffy, obviously, and then on the side of SPR, Mothra coming ahead with the lead, which we kind of, was predictable from the way the early game went for Buu, with the time he spent wasted in the top lane on that ward, but still staying in the game for himself.
Yeah, and with those kills, I mean, he didn't pick one up, but he got the 3 assists. Malzahar's got that Blackfire Torch completed already, so definitely going to have a big spike of power over this Azir for the time being, with this Dragon coming up as well. And we see the Pizza Rat spot lane pushing in too by hovering. They definitely have the control to take this Dragon. Maokai not even looking like he's interested, just going for the cross map potential dive on Ornn. He is pretty healthy though.
I think, he's spotted as well again. Just great vision control here from the Subway Pizza Rats, and we'll have prio in this Dragon, as you mentioned. I just think it's so easy for you know, if we have the Malzahar and the Vi ultimate up, it's just so much easier for them to fight these objectives right now. When it gets towards that later stage of the game, as you mentioned in the draft, the Azir and Irelia, and even the Jinx will end up kind of outscaling with these team fights, but you still have to get there. And Subway Pizza Rats are doing a great job of playing their comp out and using their strengths here in the early game.
Yeah, even despite the early deaths coming in the bot lane from those Maokai ganks, they do still have a little bit of a CS lead. You know, Jinx almost has that Cole pop though, so I mean, I'm sure he'll.
Oh, Giga Chad Crockett with the blocking the Jinx ultimate there.
There you go. That's how you do it. Everyone in this league, that's how you play around the Jinx on Dragon. Don't let her.
You mark her and you stand in between her and the objective. Ain't no way he's letting that Tortuga steal that again. Nobody does this multiple times in a row, and he makes sure to secure that objective for his team. As teleport coming through for B-Sin, get out on the map.
Oh, he does have his first item that Nasher's completed now too. You know, nothing exciting happening in the mid lane. They're just farming.
Yes, the bot laners are just trading their long-range snipes just back and forth as Zyra tries to land some poke here. And, you know, Crockett doing a good job of not letting himself or support get poked out too much here in this bot lane. You know, the Jinx Zyra not really looking as impressive as I expected it to look, and actually see a CS lead even for Halcyon on that Varus. So definitely showing that he's pretty comfortable in this champion, especially into the Jinx.
Yeah, this is the part where in mid lane where Azir's not.
Oh, he does get caught by that root though. Braum is going to come through to block a good amount of the damage and shoot it right back, but there's just so much damage on Halcyon. Has to burn the flash. Tortuga not quite having that flash up, isn't able to get the follow-up damage onto Halcyon to kill him, and gonna ultimate and take him out. Should have enough range to get the last auto as well. Doesn't even need it. The Zap will find him. Double kill for the Jinx, and now on the top side, Fluffy might be in trouble, but Boo on the way with the ultimate. Gonna come through, but Fluffy's just gonna die before he can even get there, so Boo's just gonna have to walk this one out. Has the phase rush procced. Can walk away, but it's just too much damage from the Ornn and Malzahar combo onto Fluffy. Just a little too far forward. His jungler wasn't quite there. Does have double the CS of Taco though, so not feeling too bad about that one.
Yeah, Without Fry just keeps landing these roots onto Halcyon and chunking him out, and we saw there it results in both of him and Crockett getting chased down for the double kill for the Jinx. I imagine he's got the Yuntal in base. Yep, there he is. He's going to be spiking hard here, but it was a good roam from Mike to at least get some cross-pit play, top lane rather. Kidbu holds the wave for him, like a good jungler.
Giga Chad jungler. No camps were up, so it's acceptable, I guess. And we'll end up going over to his Krugs now. As Mothra is still maintaining that lead here in the jungle, has the Triforce completed to Boo, just not quite having that item, and the Ornn gonna get that recall off. In the mid lane here, B just gonna be locked down by the Vi. Shuffles, but just not able to get anywhere with his champ, and Vi gonna take the kill. 3-0 now for Mothra on this Vi. Just a really, really good early game for Mothra here.
Yeah, to definitely secure them this Herald here with that pick. B-Sin just a little bit of a disrespectful back location, not knowing where any of the pizza rats were, having no vision.
Yeah, and if they get the Herald here, that's the objective feats for them, and I don't know if they got the kill feats. So we'll have to see if... Yeah, I think Captain Morgenslaad's got the kill feats, but I could be wrong. We'll see anyway when this objective goes down. As that will be the Malzahar ultimate getting channeled down into the Maokai, but the Irelia ultimate there as well. Directed camera wants to see what's going on with the Ornn farming that wave, but it doesn't matter because Fluffy is here getting the kills. That's a double kill for Fluffy on the Irelia. Just massive damage coming out from him. Mike will take down the jungler on the other side as Kidbu falls, but 3 dead on the side of the Subway Pizza Rats, and you know, trading for that objective for 3 kills. I don't know if that's worth unless they got the boots, which I don't.
Doesn't look like they have the boots yet.
Yeah, they didn't get the boots, so they need that tower. As Halcyon again will be found by a Zyra root, or a Jinx trap rather, and just losing the 1v1 there. As Tortuga, they're both going to pop barrier here, but Jinx a little stronger in the 1v1 scenario at this point.
How accelerated this Jinx is, we're already going to reach a point where the Varus just can't match her damage output. Mothra's
Vi almost wins that if he has the ultimate. Does have the ultimate, so could just cast it and go for the kill here, but doesn't end up using it, and the Ornn ultimate not going to connect either, so Fluffy just gets the getaway with murder here. Taco flashing over! Let's see if he actually goes for the knockup. Doesn't quite have enough for it. The Brittle proc actually doesn't connect, so he can't even get the auto attack, and now Malzahar is finally here. See if he can finish off this pesky Irelia. Will dash away, and the tower shot doesn't even kill him, but he should end up falling. It's just a matter of time. Mike gonna get this kill on the Malzahar, but a nuisance on the Irelia is Fluffy this game for SPR.
Yeah, Fluffy draws 3 top lanes there, just giving his team a free dragon. Just showing why this champ is banned all the time against him. They really don't have an answer. As we saw in that last Herald fight too, he got the flank off. Unfortunate target selection from Mike. He opted to ult the Maokai, giving Irelia free reign to just ult in and kill everyone on his team while they were standing on the Zyra plants as well. So, you know, they traded the Herald, but unfortunately, they just lost a lot off of that.
Yeah, and it's kind of seeming like a slow bleed here. You know, the bot lane now 0-6 for the side of the Pizza Rats, and, you know, what we thought might be like some pretty even laning has just been slowly just getting worse and worse for them. The top lane started out bad, and that's only going to get worse. The jungle, pretty much the saving grace for Subway Pizza Rats is that Malzahar and Vi, but, you know, even those champs, like we talked about, Beastland's still dead even in CS. Maokai always going to be useful, also pretty even in CS, as Malzahar going to channel that ultimate. They will get the chain CC as B knocks Vi into the tower, but doesn't have that dash available to get back in, so the Maokai ultimate is going to come through, but it's not going to be enough to take Vi out. He'll have to walk away, watching his mid laner die, and also burn the flash. And yeah, Beastland getting caught a lot here in this mid lane, just like you mentioned in Champ Select, so easy for them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that the Pizza Rats have going for them right now is this Malzahar Vi combo. We definitely need to start to see them transition into using it to either kill this Irelia on the side lane or shut down this Jinx. I mean, it's great that you're putting this Azir behind, as we can see, almost 2k behind the Malzahar, but you do need to start using that powerful combo that you have to, you know, shut down these other members on their team. You can't just let them continue to funnel gold into themselves for free, because, you know, at some point it's just going to be too much to deal with.
Yeah, and even with the Malzahar having a 2k gold lead, there's still a 4k gold lead pretty much for Captain Morgan's lads, with the top lane and 80 carry being so ahead for them. It's just, it's looking like a really hard game for Subway Pizza Rats to win. I like the fact that they have the Vi Malzahar that can do stuff, like you said, but at a certain point, there's just too many threats on the side of Captain Morgan's lads, where you can target one person with that combo, or two if you play it well, but...
They are using that Herald that they lost everything for to break the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, they will get the tower. Doesn't look like it'll get much more. Jinx ultimate's going through with a nice root from the Zyra to finish off Mothra there. The Azir ultimate going to push Crockett back, confirm that kill as well. Jinx has decided they see Mike here. We'll see if they end up going for anything. Kid Buu does have flash, smites the shield off, and flashes her down, and Mike flashes as well after the flash is already down. Gets rooted up here as Kid Buu tried to stand in front of, I don't know if he was trying to block the Malzahar dash or something, but he walked right into the beep. But they will end up taking him out and burning the flash as well. And with 3 dead on the side of SPR, Captain Morgan's lads, so that smells like an Otacon.
Yeah, I mean, just like with the Herald, you know, they take 1 step forward, getting the objective that they want, but then 3 steps back, losing absolutely everything. Almost everyone dying, plus this Atacon, and it's just getting harder and harder for them to try to do anything on this map. Far as finally getting to that 2 items, but like we said with this poke builds, with the game state we're in, it's not going to have that much value, as Ornn probably gonna die in top lane again here.
Yeah, gonna end up falling here.
Oh, okay. Fluffy showing some respect, not knowing where the Pizza Rats are, but that was a free
Malzahar
kill.
off the map, Vi off the map, so not quite wanting to commit overly hard for that one. Has died a few times trying to overcommit for these fights, so nice adaptation from him with showing a little respect there. Not wanting to get caught out again, so with the knowledge he had, I think wise to back off there, but Dragon spawning here soon, just about under a minute, and we'll have to see if we get another team fight here, or if someone gets caught beforehand. I'd like to see, honestly, I'd probably like to see the Pizza Rats try to commit for this. Like, just bring the Ornn down, go for like a Hail Mary team fight, because it's only going to get harder for you from here. And the Ornn's not going to be getting much done up here in the top lane against this Irelia.
Yeah, I mean, the Pizza Rats haven't even got like a real fight with.
Oh, he's just getting ran down.
Front-to-back setups. They've just been getting collapsed on going for these objectives. As Ornn barely gets out here, but you know, Without Pride has been landing key roots onto members.
Yeah, there's another one right on the
here.
Procket. Yeah, able to jump away. But yeah, the Zyra just looking so disgustingly annoying, and the identical KDA on the Jinx in the bottom lane is kind of crazy. As Fluffy just making it known that he is a threat up here in this top lane, and they got to make a decision. You know, they're kind of waffling around right now in the red side jungle, watching them take the dragon and watching them take the inhibitor and just losing both.
Yeah, the indecisiveness just. As they do finally make it over here, they are going to be able to get the Irelia.
They got some chain CC. There's no way Fluffy lives these. Yeah. But they burned 3 ultimates there to get that kill onto the Irelia off the back end of that. And I think the kill went to the Varus, which is good. First kill in the game for him. But it is that lethality Varus. So, you know, like you mentioned, it's not really going to be that big of a threat. That's the kind of champion you want to have kills on early. Get towards the later part of the game here, it's not really going to matter that much. Now it'd be as scary as Kid Buu, pretty tanky here. He doesn't think the other team is that scary. Is he just going to go in and get that ultimate down? Getting the CC down. Going to burn that flash from Crockett, as Captain Morgan's Lad's just so terrifying right now in every fight. I just feel like it's so hard.
Well, yeah, it looks like a little bit of a frustration fight on that Maokai. The Vi and Braum just doing any sort of damage they can, taking out their anger, but you know, their carries weren't with them. They're just blowing their cooldowns on this Maokai for no reason. But
yeah, there's just, this is tough. I mean, he even went the squishier build, right? He went the Andrew's Rush, which is pretty good. I mean, honestly, in this kind of a game, I don't really think you need to have the Landers on Maokai at all. I think you can just go full tank and be completely fine, looking at the champs in your team, but does go for that, so we'll be a little squishier if they can find him out in some of these fights.
1 minute on the Baron. With that top inhib down, Fluffy is just free to, you know, put all that pressure into the bot lane. So he might kill the
And there he's going, putting the pressure down again. Gets that spell shield popped, and we'll have the ultimate on him, but Aurelia has some innate tenacity and can also just stack up her passive on this Malzahar minion, so a lot of damage. The flash comes out, but it doesn't matter, flashes anyway afterwards. Gonna end up getting the kill. I don't think he gets this 1v1. Vi is gonna take him out there. Lethal tempo coming in clutch there, I guess. As now we're in the mid lane. The wave gonna get cleared up and gonna prevent them from taking his tower. Tortuga knocked pretty low, but should not be in too much danger. The Varus not quite in range to get any abilities off. And maybe they try to besiege this. The ultimate going to be dodged out of by Tortuga, so a nice backstep by him. Taking a good amount of damage here, and the Vi's charging the Q, so that should just be a kill. The ultimate's available, flashes out of the Zyra ultimate. Nice play by Mothra, but actually doesn't have that ultimate, so isn't able to kill the Jinx. And he'll get the kill onto the enemy jungler. Ultimate going to fly through, but not going to be needed, as B Sin will find redemption. The Emperor of Shurima coming in with the double kill for the ace.
They don't even need the Maokai. He's pulling a Zabel and full clearing his camp while his team is sieging.
Absolutely based jungler.
The Pizza Rats just run into them under the Azir towers. We saw Mothra flashing forward, but without that ult, using it on the Aurelia, wasn't able to finish off that Jinx. They're gonna get this Baron very, very safely. They'll very easily be able to, you know, play 2 lanes here with this Baron buff. You know, top inhib already gone. They can just have the Aurelia bot lane. The rest of them just making sure that that top wave keeps crashing and sieging this mid tower. And you know, there's deceptive wave clear on the side of Pizza Rats. People do associate Malzahar with wave clear, but against Baron minions and, you know, people cleared his Void Liz, his wave clear is non-existent, so it's gonna be a rough spot for them here.
Yeah, it does have the double burn. Looks like he's even maybe going for the Rylai's here on the 3rd item. Not sure how you feel about that one. I personally would have maybe liked to see a death cap. Your damage is going to be pretty low here on this team with the lethality Varus, so you kind of need the Malzahar to offer a bit more. But we'll go for the more utility-focused build with that Rylai's, and not a bad item, and we'll be able to clear these waves fine. But you know, as we saw earlier down here in the bot lane, it was really hard for him to fight really anybody. The Aurelia just shreds him. Now the Aurelia is going to be ended up overextended, like we mentioned earlier, but he's a little tankier here. Maybe he can even get a kill. A lot of lifesteal coming through, and does end up trading 1-for-1 in a 3v1 as his team sits here in the mid lane. The recall is going to be canceled by the Jinx ultimate, a wonderful rocket from Tortuga, and they're going to be walking up to the Nexus towers here. Varus ultimate going to go down, but not going to find much purchase. Jinx ends up getting rooted, but the tower's not quite in range. A nice snipe from the Varus. Does find a lot of damage, though. Tortuga's falling so low, will fall. The kill going to the Ornn without pride. Seeing if he can get any more value here on the back end, as the flash out from the Zyra is still going to be met with death for the side of SPR. 3 dead for them. And the
minions
towers
are
as
too
well.
much for them. They just have to sit here and Baron up these minions. They don't even have to go.
Blue flashing in.
They're going anyway.
They have so much damage, they can just walk at them. There's just too much range. The Braum can't do anything about this, and that's an ace. And that will be the game for Captain Morgan's lads. Surprising way to end the game there. Just kind of running it into the base and just killing them. But, well played by them. But despite a tough early game, they brought it back. They knew their comp was a little bit better for what they wanted to do. And, despite some faux pas with getting caught for some of the players, particularly B and Fluffy getting caught there, their bot lane just a phenomenal performance, and Maokai as well, even from behind a little early.
Credit to Kid Buu. He sacked his early game and put himself in a goal deficit to the Vi for the entirety of the game to make sure that this bot lane 2v2 didn't get taken over by that early game Varus, investing 2 early ganks to one to blow the flashes of the Pizza Rats, and then after to get the kills. So really well played by Kid Buu, just knowing his win condition to get this Jinx off the ground.
Absolutely. Love to see it. And we're going to love to see the game too. So don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back for game 2 of the Subway Pizza Rats versus Captain Morgan's lads. All right. Hello and welcome everybody back to game 2 here. I am Sable, joined by Kazuto with the phenomenal Sam Halfling on the production here. By the way, fun fact, Kazuto, don't know if you knew this, but Sam username is Halfling. Name is Sam, and he's never watched Lord of the Rings. So just have to throw the one out there. Just flame him in the chat, please. Any Lord of the Rings enjoyers in chat, please flame this man. But
I'm
something that
watching
we're
it
not going to flame
next week.
Next week, okay. We have the promise here next week.
Yeah, promise next
said
week.
that a couple weeks ago, but
I'm starting draft.
Yeah,
Hopefully
we started the draft there.
extended editions for all 3 of them, of course.
Yes, yeah, 8 hours.
Perfect.
8 hours. Thankfully, we will not be on the stream here for 8 hours tonight, as we will be getting to the draft here for game number 2. They made it a pretty quick affair there. Captain Morgan's lads did for game 1, and now for game 2 here. What do you expect to be the transition or kind of the changes here for the Subway Pizza Rats? Because it kind of looked like they got everything they wanted, but they still weren't able to get it across the line.
Yeah, I mean, definitely need to remove the Aurelia. They want to not have Fluffy on this pick that's just going to apply so much pressure for free on the other side of the map, because we did see them play the jungle mid 2v2 and even the bot 2v2s without that Maokai there pretty well. So if they don't have this top lane just giga bleeding the entire game, it can be competitive for them. They did swap sides here. Haven't changed up the bans yet. Same stuff coming through. Hopefully that Aurelia comes down, because it looked really rough for them.
Do we think there was a conversation of that? Like, I would bet you $5. That's one of those moments where it's like, do we ban the Aurelia? And he's like, nah, I can handle the Aurelia. Like, it's like, that's how it goes. It's like, I got to pick for that. I feel like I've heard that from my top laner, Ajuma, plenty of times before the the 0-1 come down there at 2 minutes in. But yeah, opting to not ban that yet. I do expect it to come in here for the 3rd ban here for the red side. If they take this out, maybe they're thinking, okay, they could pick the Aurelia. Maybe we'll have a chance to pick the Malphite if that's up and available, if we don't ban it. But, I would like to see them ban it here. It didn't look like they were able to deal with it. But, maybe they have some different calculus they're making there. As, we see Captain Morgan's lads with the Volley Bear Warwick bans are pretty good for Mothra. But, yeah, Camille going to be the hover here for the ban. So we'll leave that Aurelia. Okay, the Aurelia is taken. Thank God.
And then probably just gonna go for a Jinx first pick here on Tortuga. definitely did not punish the Jinx enough last game. They were able to help them get through that early game and just snowball from there. So I don't think they need to change anything up, but and the Smolder comes through. Okay.
Yeah, I like that first pick from Captain Morgan's lads. Get Tortuga onto a champion that could scale pretty much for free. I know B-Sin, I think, also plays this champion, so it
Yep.
could be a flex as well to the mid lane for the side of Captain Morgan's lads. And gonna have to see what Subway Pizza Rats answers with. We'll just look to maybe take that Vi again, as Mothra did have a good performance on that and is good against scaling carries like the Smolder.
Yeah, but it does also, if you're just picking the Vi this early, it just opens up Kid Buu to respond with the Maokai right away.
Yeah.
Again, if he wants to. Hovering the Jinx, want to take that away from Tortuga potentially. Looks like the new champ is on this draft client. I doubt.
Yikes. Yeah, we will not be locking that one in. As another champ with a release date diff here picked up for Halcyon with the Zeri. A very strong AD carry, as we saw last series, as Nithros almost single-handedly carrying that second game there in his series, is popping off. And this champ can do a lot of damage in the late game alongside that Smolder as well. Obviously, he's not going to have quite the late game scaling as Smolder with the execute that he has, but the mobility Zeri has kind of gives her a power in a different ways. A point and click CC will be available for both jungglers onto both of these scaling AD carries.
Yeah, the lads responded with the Pantheon. Just nice, like you said, point and click CC to use on this Zeri. And without Pride, wants that Zyra again. So that is going to tell us
Yeah, he looked good.
is likely going on to Kid Buu. But yeah, without Pride, definitely was popping off last game. He went deathless, I believe, by the end of it.
Yeah, he was deathless and just looking
Seraphine.
insanely good. Crockett Seraphine is surely a sight to behold. Seraphine was trading a lot of prio back in the past couple series here in the gaming tavern with some of these teams, thinking this pick is just super high value. Personally, I don't really see it, but I like what they're doing with the draft here for the side of the Subway Pizza Rats. They have the point and click. You have a mage to kind of enchanter mage kind of champ like Seraphine to match that Zyra range in the bot side. So I don't hate it. We'll have to see how they round it out, though, because there could be a chance for them to pick some suboptimal stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's also the potential, Mike likes to play the more supportive champs that it can be flexed to the mid lane, but Crockett has shown a lot of Seraphine games so far this season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Definitely should fight back in this Zyra lane a lot better than that early Braum pick will. Definitely got bullied.
Absolutely. And, Brahma champion that can be pretty strong, but not a great spot for it when you're into that double range. Just feels so oppressive on really any melee champion. Outside of maybe the Silas, but not a lot of people playing that Silas support there. I do personally enjoy that one, but as we speak of Silas, he will be banned away from VSIN. Not going to be able to pick that one up. I am really looking for Subway Pizza Rats to pick some front line here, pick some engaged, lock people in place for the Seraphine. I already have the Vi, but you're going to need at least one other diver with the Vi to make that as effective as possible. So I'm not sure what they would want, really. Maybe, I was going to say the Galio could be an option if that is banned away. Malphite's still available, and that one's banned away now as well. So not going to have access to either of those. See what they hold last pick for.
I'd imagine they want to save. No, okay. I was going to assume they want to save top lane last pick just so they protect him against Fluffy a little more, but they are going to blind pick this top laner.
Yeah, I guess they're just figuring put Daney on some comfort here. I know he does play those champs, going to pick the Scion, which is one of the best blind pick champions, one of the best top laners that you can play in the game right now. Just a phenomenally strong laner. Doesn't really have a lot of hard losing matchups. And even if you do lose, you're so strong in the game because of that passive with the Soul Furnace getting you that HP with your W passive there. So gets to be tanky for free, but Fiora would have been pretty scary. And Darius is a little scary too, but not quite as much. And I guess I won't talk about all the hovers here because it's going to have blocking in the Aatrox. And that's a matchup that's pretty hard for the Scion. Does get your Q charge canceled when you're trying to charge that up. Aatrox has many ways to cancel that, so you don't get as much value there. But like I said, the Scion's pretty much okay into most matchups, just scaling into the game here. He's not worried about his laning phase, and we'll be. I'm not going to talk about the hover. As we'll wait till it's locked in.
Definitely played
He's
some
here.
games with the hovers here.
Yeah.
VSIN is here, comes through again.
Zir will go through for Bsin. One of his signature champions, does like those Shurima champions, so not going to see the Cassante here from him, which I would have loved to see in the Rise. We get locked in for Mike there in the mid lane, so honestly, that's a matchup in the mid lane, Kazuto, that you probably know a good bit about, so why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of how that one goes?
Well, unfortunately, because I'm not playing in Challenger, no one plays either of these champions, so... I mean, Rise is just gonna... much like the previous game, Rise is just gonna have the early prio or early wave clear before this Azir can really match it, but then once Azir gets that 1-2 item, he's just gonna outrange this Rise, and Rise won't really be able to fight him as much. He is immobile, though, very vulnerable to the scoop ganks. So definitely want to see Mike just shoving these waves and trying to roam around, making some plays, similar to what he did last game, because it was a strong point for the Pizza Rats. But we do have Fluffy on this Aatrox, which, I remember from week 1, he was definitely the main carry on his team on this Aatrox pick all the way back then.
Yeah, Fluffy just with a phenomenal showing so far today, and he's set up to do it again. Has the Aatrox into the Scion here, has the favorable matchup, have their mid laner on comfort here for Captain Morgan's lads, and you have Kid Buu on an early ganking champion on the Pantheon, so looking to see him make some stuff happen on the map here. Mothra again on this Vi had a phenomenal early game last game, but a lot of that was kind of gifted by the Maokai kind of trolling with some of that positioning on the map. But then Kid Buu brought it back with some amazing ganks to the bot side and really made sure that his team had what it takes to get through the early game there. And now on a champion where you can really make sure your team has what it takes to get through the early game, especially when you have those scaling carries in the mid and the bot. Kid Buu going to be such a massive factor here in the early game on the Pantheon.
Yeah, but the other side of that too is if he does play similarly like he did last game and it doesn't work out and he doesn't get those kills, Pantheon is different than Maokai, where he is not going to be as useful, where Maokai still has that CC, still tanky. Pantheon from behind's not going to be able to offer much but his point and click stun. So we'll see if he decides to play the same way or if he just clears like an inspired full clear merchant.
I will say, with the way that Pantheon works now, with the updated Pantheon and some of the new items, you can get to a pretty good scaling point on this champ. You're maxing that W second, your E's always going to have value, and you can actually go for the Sundered Sky build into the Styrax, and then just third item, Unending Despair. And you're incredibly tanky because of that Sundered Sky auto with the Unending Despair healing, and your E can just mitigate so much damage. So while he historically hasn't been a great scaling champion, the way you can itemize and play this new jungle Pantheon actually makes him into a pretty formidable scaling linking champion with how you can play some of these team fights. So we'll have to see if he ends up itemizing that way, because I really think that is the itemization that really makes Pantheon actually get to that mid to late game in a decent spot. But obviously has the mid to late game carries on his team, so maybe he doesn't get to worry about that too much.
We don't see any wards being wasted at the beginning of this game. Everyone still got them, so both teams just going blind, having no idea where these junglers are starting.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's always going to be kind of hard, is to not have that vision on the map for a jungler. It's really hard to pick your pathing and where you want to gank early if you don't know where the other guy is. But the way they're pathing, they are going to be crossing to opposite sides of the map. So see which one can kind of make his play work. As another Zyra route from with that Pride going down there. Even though enemy team got level 2 first, he was able to get a route down there to kind of deny some of that. But Tortuga just walking up to hit the CS anyway, even though enemy team's level 2, just not really giving a crap and dodging his abilities. So good for him. Playing with his cock out there a little bit.
Yeah, this topside start from Mothers tells me they just want to double down on playing around Halcyon. He's just
Oh yeah.
saying, good luck, Taco. You know, we gave you the Scion. Super sick, safe pick. I'm just going to path bot and try to camp this Smolder and get my Zeri ahead here.
Yeah, I think that is the play as well. But I mean, Halcyon and Crockett are going to have to do some work of actually setting the wave up here to be gankable. If they're going to keep pushing these waves, and it's not really going to be an opportunity, I don't think we can really dive with Zyra Smolder with the champions that they have on the Rift. As Malthus slowly making his way down, and going to probably do the 6 camp before he ganks.
It was pushing into him, but the constant Seraphine Qs and Zeri.
Oh, and Halcyon actually just flashing forward.
Oh,
so much damage on it without pride. Just hits that little zap there on the end as well. Didn't quite get the extendo where he needed it. Still connected. And as Mothra smite that blue buff and head on over to the crowd, knows that his bot lane has done the job as the extendo beam almost takes out without pride, cancels the recall. It's very annoying actually if that's canceled. Kid Boo going to be the first jungler here to make a difference, and does make the difference burning the flash. I actually don't think we even need to do that.
Right.
We already got the Scion flash. There's not really a reason to flash in after him, but does end up burning it, and that just makes the Pantheon so much weaker here now in the early game. Without that flash available to flash onto the Rise or the Zeri and the bot side.
But the wave is in a bad spot.
Revisits immediately. Gonna get the CC down onto the Scion, and that will just be first blood for Kid Boo on the Pantheon. So feeling really good. A funny interaction there actually. He stunned the Scion as the end of the Aatrox chains was going through, so it just didn't pull him back, but it ended up not mattering. That's another root from Without Pride.
And he doesn't end up going for it. He does want to get
Vi
back
down
on
here.
the map, but he could have stuck around top lane because Aatrox is holding a freeze with that wave being in such a bad spot for Scion, so he could have potentially went for a 3-peat, but he does want to get back to his bot side camps and potentially this dragon. Bot lane just keeps scrapping here.
Yeah, they are scrapping pretty much the whole game number 1, and now the whole game number 2 is Dainty Taco just not feeling great about this matchup here, but doing the Scion things of getting this wave pushed. Should be able to pop that shield to kill the rest of those minions, and ends up doing it. Mutilator auto going to come through for Aatrox and actually heal so much there, and should be fine to farm up under this tower. It is kind of chunked a little low. Scion not the worst in these kind of early trades against Aatrox, but we'll just get worse and worse for him over time. As down about 600 gold there in the top lane we see, and Kid Boo now in this jungle. Oh, yeah, they're hunting for him. See if they find him. Pantheon is close, but doesn't end up committing to anything. He's going to walk towards the mid lane now. We'll see. Maybe looking for this scuttle spawn, as we see a nice ward there from either Mothra or Dainty Taco on that blue side jungle for Kid Boo. We'll spot him if he tries to head up towards that top wave. But that ward won't actually see much if he paths around the other side. But we'll see if it ends up spotting him. It's Fluffy just making this feel so terrible for Dainty Taco. He's down up about 30 CS, and it's just looking like another Fluffy carry angle. This Aatrox is not going to get less scary, as the Darkened Blade will just make sure that Scion doesn't really have a fun time up there. Halcyon getting a little low and running forward. It doesn't matter, has the heal available. See if the Q flash comes here from Vi. Actually doesn't end up popping the flash. It doesn't get the knockup, but doesn't need it. That's root coming there from Crockett. Tortuga will end up flashing away and barriering. So it's both summoners down for the Smolder, and I honestly think if Mothra maybe hit the flash there while charging that Q, he can connect that and maybe get the kill, but doesn't end up using it, so we'll be available for the next game.
Yeah, Smolder flash down now, so Mothra can just get his 6, and it should be free kill on that Smolder later. But this top lane is just gonna be a repeat of last game, where every time we look up there, it just gets a little bit worse. Playing against Aatrox with the lead as a melee champion is just one of the most miserable experiences in the game.
Yeah, it does not feel good. Aatrox, very oppressive, very good from ahead, and already having that pickaxe, and longsword, and even the glowing moat, which is the worst item in the game. Such a crazy.
Did see a Juma build 2 early glowing moats in the previous series. It must be good, right?
Yeah, it's a classic Ajuba angle, honestly. Every little way he can controls the Pantheon ultimate getting him through. Not going to be close enough to Mike. Was getting actually body blocked by Lazier, not able to walk forward, but he
Wow.
actually makes it out, and he gets the root down onto B-Sin as well. So phenomenal play from Mike on the rise, walking back in, but taking a lot of damage from Pantheon. Should end up falling here, one of them, to the Spear, but no, the Spear going to just be short-casted by Kid Buu and not actually going to connect. And now Crockett on the roam with a bloodthirsty support coming into the mid lane and cleaning up that kill onto B-Sin. He said, Mike, don't worry, I got him.
Yeah,
And
a lot of
it might
cooldowns
be-
being blown on this rise, but unfortunately, the fight's still going on.
Mike's so close to smack, but Smolder does
Oh.
get taken out by the Kid Buu Flash Spear. The E doesn't block tower damage, by the way, but pops it anyway just in case, as now Halcyon is here, but that's a 1v3, and I don't think that's a place where Zeri wants to be.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, these last two games, B-Sin's Sarima shuffles have not been looking too good. He completely whips on the rise in that last play, letting him get out.
Zeri ult's gonna pop and jump over the wall and just does get the solo kill. Popped that ultimate, but now might be paying for it with his life. Flashes backwards and pops the barrier. B-Sin tanking so much of that damage up and will end up getting the kill. Has the move speed to make it out as well. Throwing some spears from the backside here. We'll see if B-Sin can clean anything up, and the answer is gonna be no. And yeah, the Azir looking a little underwhelming here for B-Sin. He's pretty fortunate that the rest of his team is kind of, playing pretty well, but Halcyon with a nice play on the Zeri there to get a kill, and Cyan ultimate going to be blocked and canceled by Fluffy and just going to be playing just, oh, you can't run that way, has to flash, you have to run to the side on that Aatrox W, or you will get pulled back, and does end up having to burn that flash there in the top side. Dainty Taco just not having a good time here.
And hopefully that gold Halcyon went for it ends up being worth it. He does lose his flash on the play. Very vulnerable to this next Pantheon ult gank, or maybe even this dragon fight, but definitely has a decent lead on this Smolder as of now. But we don't see the lead on Mothra that we saw in the last game, with 3 of the kills being on this Pantheon.
Yeah, the Pantheon has to be just pretty ahead and board here. It was 600 before, probably up to about 1,000 now, maybe even more. As honestly, for the Smolder, I'm pretty much, if I'm Smolder in this game, I'm chilling. I'm only down 1 kill. I got 2 assists. I'm pretty much even in CS, and I'm just stacking away. Get a Smolder stack count. See what he's at here. It's only 10 minutes, so probably not too much. Sitting at about 60 stacks there, 59 to be exact. It's going to need quite a bit more to get online to that point, but does have quite a bit more time in the game here. And like we talked about on the champs, like Bisa doing such a good job in this game, just kind of being the early game vehicle for his team. Does have all 3 of the kills, but just doing good in this early game here. Is Mothra going to get something back in the way of the Ocean Drake?
Yeah, the 10-minute Sundered Sky he's so fed right now. You see him soloing the grubs. And, I mean, he can do whatever he wants on this top side. The Pizza Rats aren't even attempting to enter that side of the map with the amount of aura that the Aatrox is farming.
Yeah, the Aatrox is gonna be what they call a problem. Don't know how the Aatrox is able to be dealt with in this game. The Vi can't really commit resources to go into the Aatrox, because then you're just leaving the Smolder and the Azir to free fire. And then you don't really have anybody else that can tank any hits from him except for the Scion, who's going to be down almost 100 CS here soon, and they don't really have anybody else on the team who's going to be tanky. So Aatrox can pretty much one-shot 4 out of the 5 members. And yeah, Dainty Taco, no flash, does have an ultimate available, but you have to think that if that starts to get channeled, it's just going to get blocked by Fluffy with the flash. Doesn't even need it.
They weren't in front of him.
Oh, it looks like the ult did cast. Oh no, it didn't. That's just what it looks like on the passive when you pop the ability. Does have that available, but yeah, feels pretty terrible.
Just depressing every time the camera pans up here. There's nothing
It is, honestly.
Taco could do. He's just being set so far behind, both in champs, so like with the matchups that he's getting, but also with the early pressure that Kid Buu puts on him.
Yeah, I think someone's going to need to mark this stream as NSFW with the things that are happening here on this top lane. It's pretty tough to see as far as what Fluffy's doing here, and this is the kind of performance that I think a lot of people were expecting to see from Fluffy. This guy coming into the league was a kind of a hype prospect. Some people maybe thought he's even a little undervalued there at that gold rank, and for what he'd been showing in some of the in-houses, and kind of showing here that when he has these picks, when he has these good matchups, when he feels comfortable in the game, he can really do it. Doesn't have the kills because his jungler is just being the GOAT and just taking him, which is honestly based, but showing these matchups how good he can be and how dominant he can be in these 1v1s.
Yep, forcing Sion out yet again. And, they're just, the Pizza Rasters, even though the kills might not reflect it, they seem to be in a worse situation than they were in last game. They have no point of power on the map for them, whereas last time they had gold on the Vi, they had the Malzahar to combo up with it, but this time they're just watching the Captain Morgan's lads just scale for free on their Azir Smolder and watching Aatrox just take everything he wants in the top lane. They're just kind of letting everything happen, and they're just losing the game slowly.
Yeah, the one kill Zeri will not be enough. Maybe if we see a pop off here from the Zeri, like in this kind of moment, but just get seed by without pride, just the Zyra just providing so much value and just getting auto attacked to death by the Smolder. Does pop the heal to get away from the Sion, who has joined the fight now. Does have that Q charged up and will hit it, but there's just not a lot of follow-up. Fluffy with the flash there, not able to connect on the Mothra. We'll see if he can get the 1v1. So much healing down. It does have that Eclipse. It should be able to just walk this one out. Mike gonna get rooted up there. Maybe we can follow up here and does get a kill. So a solo kill from Mike there on the top side onto Fluffy. That's gonna be a nice bit of gold into the pockets of the Rise there.
Mothra's not a person. It's a solo kill for Mike.
Well, he actually didn't get the assist. He was just running away from the Aatrox.
Okay. Still, nice, little consolation shutdown gold under the Rise, but, it's really not going to be enough. They had to abandon the mid lane and let Azir just get that tower for free there.
Yeah.
Sion leaving the lane to try to help the Zeri, but doesn't end up getting anything in the bot lane either. The Dragon's 50 seconds, Pantheon's already setting up around it. With the state that this game is in, this Dragon might be the Pizza Rat's best chance. They have the one item on Rise and the one item on Zeri. If they can find an angle or pick someone that is the best any fight's going to look for in this game, but it's already...
Yeah, but the one item is a Roa, so that's going to be good in about 5 minutes. Not going to be feeling super good about that one. I mean, the Rise will be scaling, so that will feel good. And, we see, obviously, the boots have been completed for the side of Captain Morgan's lads. So Captain Morgan's lads is kind of feeling like they get away with murder in this game. They're pretty much doing whatever they want. Already have a 5k gold lead here in 15 minutes, and the Smolder is just free farming and free hitting the tower here on the bot side, and it kind of feels like that's kind of the story of the game here for Captain Morgan's lads. They're just kind of doing whatever they want. There's not really a lot of agency that the Subway Pizza Rats have, like you mentioned earlier, kind of just walking around and watching them, play the game. Some spectator League of Legends. Maybe they're trying to make a desperate attempt here. Sion not going to get too much from that charged Q, and Kid Buu just on the back end, just murdering the bot lane. As Tortuga now going to get left out to dry by his team. Mike going to clean that one up, and Ultimate going to come down from Mothra onto Kid Buu, but he's not in the pit to smite the dragon, so his team is there, but Dainty Taco is just getting taken care of, as Zeri will get the kill onto the Pantheon. So a nice shutdown over to Halcyon on that Zeri. It's going to give him a good amount of gold, but now that Fluffy has joined the fight, it is a little scary, so they will have to walk away. He's ensuring that his team has space to get the dragon, but maybe he doesn't want to test those waters too much. He'll get out himself as well.
Yeah, even with the pick that they were able to get onto the Smolder, there's just so much damage coming through from this fed Aatrox, this fed Pantheon being there. We saw at the start of the fight, Pantheon, without any help from anyone, chunked the Vi, and I believe it was Seraphine, I'm not sure who the other one was, but chunked 2 people at once to almost dead, completely by himself. He just has so much gold right now.
Yeah, it was Vi Seraphine.
Yeah. So even with the Smolder dropping, they still can't find anything else on that fight. I think Zeri getting there late, having to pop her ult to finish off the whoever he killed. Was it Pantheon? I don't know.
Yeah, he did kill the Pantheon. It was a little deep. And that was a shutdown, a pretty big shutdown, because Buu was at 5-0 at that point. So that will be a lot of gold going over to the Zeri. So should actually be in a pretty significant gold lead now for the Zeri in that bot side. We'll have to see if that ends up amounting to much.
I think that sound effect means Smolder just hit his first break point. He is half of a champion now with his 125 stacks.
There we go.
He does have the one item. He has the 125 stacks. Little slow on the stacking, but with how his top of jungle are in this game, he doesn't really need to rush it. He has all the time in the world to get to that point. It's probably not even going to end up mattering in this game.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, at this point, you're just kind of a global taunt button with a Smolder, similar to when there's a Teemo in the game. Like, people are just going to want to click on you and want to kill you, but, you have to commit a lot from the side of the Subway Pizza Rats to kill the Smolder. You have to Vi ultimate him. That's a given. And then you at least have to have Ryze and or Zeri also hitting him. So that's 2 or 3 champions that are full committed on to killing the Smolder if you do want to kill him. And if it's just the Vi, then that's a lot of your kill pressure onto anyone else just itemized into the Smolder. So gonna be looking to see if there's some alternative targeting coming through from the Subway Pizza Rats. So I would like to see them maybe just try to burst out this Pantheon, maybe the Zyra, because yeah, like you said, the Smolder a little late on the stacks, not super threatening, and I think you have to go for some kind of cheesy plays for Subway Pizza Rats in this game state to try to win the game.
And we do see their new lane assignments with Ryze matching the Aatrox and Saya matching the Azir working out better for them. They are able to, halt these lanes, not giving any more to the Captain Morgan's lads as of right now. So it gives them a little bit of time to get more items, install this as long as they can, because their win condition is really just trying to stall the game out as long as they possibly can with the lead that Captain Morgan's lads has. It's good they were able to take one of those dragons, but Otacon spawning soon, not gonna be able to fight this. But they might opt for it anyway. They are positioning that they're gonna contest.
Yeah, they do want to fight this. They're all coming down. Zeri's pushing that mid lane out, so hopefully it's not a situation where it's kind of the spectator League of Legends where they just kind of watch Captain Morgan's lads take this while Zeri pushes mid. But Smolder's there to match, so it's not like they're going to lose much in the way of the CS there. Beeson in the top lane with the Azir, but does have that teleport available. Kid Buu scouting, making sure he knows where the enemy's at. They see all 3 of them right there, so no flanks will be happening from the Scion. They're going to be just trying to play this front to back, as Mike actually having to flash over the wall there to escape from Fluffy and Kid Buu. So that Ryze flash being down is going to be crucial in this fight. An easy shuffle target. The Scion off, he's just going to pull the trigger. We'll go in, but Kid Buu blocking all of that damage at the E, but gets charmed up by the Seraphine ultimate as well. But the Zyra ultimate does a great job to zone the rest of them. Is now Fluffy, doing so much damage on the backside, gets a flash in, and the sweet spot from the Q3 on the Aatrox is doing so much. Zeri pumping on the backside, but has to zone off as Tortuga now getting chased by the Scion passive. Kid Buu there to peel it off though, and Zeri was doing a lot of damage, but it's not enough damage to escape from Fluffy on this Aatrox, the darkened avatar of war, getting the ace for the side of Captain Morgan's lads. Just an absolute menace on this Aatrox.
Yeah, no, it was a really nice try from the Subway Pizza Rats. They saw an angle for an engage. Unfortunately, the gold is just not in their favor. Also, Ryze with an ultimate into their backline doesn't have the damage for that to really be an effective tool. He's just kind of ults into them and says, hey, and then they kill him right away. But, we did see them almost take down a couple people. If they had more golds, that would have been a good engage, but just the last-ditch effort trying to get them before this Otacon. They saw Azir top lane, but it wasn't enough. They do end up dropping that Otacon. Dragon will probably follow here, and then it's just back to bleeding out this game.
Yeah, it's just back to business as usual, and Kid Buu getting caught out here a little bit. Zeri gonna take that kill as well, so that's now 2 pretty crucial kills onto Zeri from Kid Buu, just overextending a little bit here in this Pantheon. Man after my own heart. Sometimes you just gotta overextend on the jungle just to keep your team on their toes. You have to know if your team will trust you. But they go in for this dragon here. Dainty Taco and friends really desperately want to get this. Yeah, he's not here, and Tortuga will get that kill onto the Ryze, as the objective bounty will be claimed by Mothra, but the rest of the fight will be claimed by Captain Morgan's Lads, a double kill for B-Sin. The Azir finally showing its value. And the Scion passive not going to be enough, as Zeri will just be going straight to the mid lane to pick up more CS. But every single fight here from Captain Morgan's Lads just looking so one-sided despite how it starts.
Yeah, definitely looked like split calls for the Subway Pizza Rats. They got the pick onto the Pantheon and they wanted to move over to the Dragon, but Zeri just did not want to give up that Raptor camp and did not end up joining them. He tried to make it, but it was too late there. Fortunately for them, Mothra was able to spike that before going down. But if they are able to stall this game, it is more dragons for them, more opportunities to prolong it. But you got to think once this Baron comes up in a little under 2 minutes that they're just going to be forced to go for a fight again, or they'll just get pushed in and lose from there.
And Kazuto, it is Flame Horizon time. Fluffy has officially hit the Flame Horizon mark for that top lane. Gonna lose it here for a second as Sion picks up a few of those minions, but it was connected on there and will be brought back again here as he farms this wave. Just such a disgustingly strong lead. He hit it earlier as well. My producer just informed me, but the 100 CS and the double CS game for Fluffy is just honestly just a statement game for him. Struggling a little bit in some of these other series here in the Gaming Tavern, but coming out here today and really showing that he is one of those top laners to be feared in this league. Maybe a Juma shaking his boots a little bit watching this game, but in the mid lane here, Mothra just going to flash out, but just going to flash right into the waiting arms of Smolder's mom. Crockett getting the ultimate off, but it's not going to find any purchase, as the mid lane tower now will be the next victim of Captain Morgan's Lads. Kinbu will fall again, but it's not enough to keep this tower alive, as it will fall here to the last auto there from B-Sin, and he will raise it from its ashes to be a glorious idol to Shurima there in the mid lane. And inhibitor tower not long for this world either. We'll see if they opt to go for the inhibitor. Some teams like to just leave this up so they don't want to feed the enemy team XP, but it's up to the state of the game where I think you can just take this and then look for that Baron.
Yeah, exactly right. They just want the free push that this mid lane inhibitor is going to give them so that they have more prio around this Baron. I mean, we saw that fight. We start off really well for them, just getting a lot of chunk damage from 2 screens away with the Zyra Smolder, but then a little too far forward from the Pantheon, ends up dying underneath the tower, but not going to end up mattering for him as they get the inhibitor anyway. This Ryze is going to go bottom with no TP here with this Baron spawning.
It does have that ultimate, but it's not the level 16 one yet, so it won't have that maximum range that's available from that Realm Warp, so should be a pretty easy Baron start, and honestly an easy Baron turn as well for Captain Morgan's Lads, with the Azir, with the Zyra, able to offer that CC from range. Fluffy just going to end up going to the spot lane with the teleport to match the Scion, who will now be matching him with that teleport available himself.
Yeah, Captain Morgan's Lads just want to wait for this Aatrox to be pushing up in this lane, start drawing pressure, and then they can just easily go for this Baron, even if the Subway Pizza Rats try to contest them. It's a 4v4, they win very easily, even without this Aatrox's gold lead.
Yeah, absolutely. They just have looked so strong in every single one of these fights, and it's honestly, that Vi ultimate's just a one-way ticket to the gray screen at this point. Like, you were pressing that button and you're flying into the enemy team and just pretty much dying. The Zyra ultimate coming down on top of you, the Azir and Smolder damage raining on top of you when you're ulting in. It's just pretty much going to spell your death. And now Fluffy here in the 1v3. We'll see if he can do anything. We'll get CC'd. Not going to be a chain CC quite. Does have that ultimate running. Seraphine ultimate going to go down as well on top of the Vi ultimate. But Fluffy getting so much damage. Actually, if that auto attack was off on the Halcyon, he will get that kill. But doesn't end up quite going through. But buys a good amount of time for his team to secure the Purple Worm and wear that buff for the next several minutes for themselves. The Realm War coming through, but it's just not going to be enough. And they actually took the Realm War, so we'll see if that ends up paying off for them and they can actually escape. But it looks like they're trying to run away, but Mothra is so close to getting executed here, and they're trying to run forward. They're actually trying to fight this, but the Azir Shuffle finds 2! Pantheon ultimate comes down across, and that hits absolutely nobody, but Tortuga finds the execute. Mike doing so much here on the back end. Halcyon on the Zeri was untouched. He's been free firing, but a triple kill for Boom on the Pantheon and makes the Quadra. I don't think he can find the Penta Oh, I know we're typing to the chat. Penta. Maybe he didn't get a quadra there. It didn't actually pop up, but I think he did. But oh my goodness.
Oh,
That was the side body. Okay.
it's just like the fight at Otacon where the Subway Pizza Rats actually are finding good angles, but the gold lead just does not allow them to come on top of these fights. Even 4v5 there. A little bit of a late Baron start from Captain Morgan's lads, though, does give the Pizza Rats the opportunity to even make that close. So we saw they weren't even close to the Baron as the Aatrox was pushing up towards the tower, so they weren't in position, but unfortunately they were able to get that anyway. So the fight was starting to turn around on them, but Pantheon landing a giant Q to just demolish the Pizza Rats.
Yeah, that was insane. That was just a deletion. As you know, it looked like they were going to bring that fight back. Like Halcyon was going to have that Zeri moment that we could end up certifying that one there, but it doesn't end up being the case. And a pretty tragic moment for the side of the Pizza Rats, because you have to think that was their moment in the game here to come back. They had the massive Realm Warp. I thought it was a mega int when they took that Realm Warp in, but they ended up kind of turning that fight around a little bit, but just not quite able to get it over the line. And honestly, I just think the game is just so hard now for them.
Smolder's been at 225 for a little bit now, as we see Rise getting chunked there. Yeah, I mean, Mike even played that last fight so well, zoning a couple of them away, even taking one down. And they got a nice pick on the
range root, but yeah, he got the root, but it was the cost of his life. And now Mothra going in with that Vi ultimate, but will get taken out as well. Now Fluffy here trying to get onto Halcyon, not quite able to do enough damage. The barrier from the Zeri going to be doing so much work, but Kid Buu back here again, blocking damage with that E, able to get the kill onto Halcyon on that Zeri, but himself is going to have to run or die. Mike on this Rise is actually doing so much. The 2-point warp at some point in a minute's enough. That's not taking him out. As the Realm Warp secure the kill. Decent in the bot lane. Push it in to get this.
It made Kid Buu's brain crash. He didn't know which direction to walk.
Oh my goodness. That was quite something here. Is Sion going to have a decent time clearing this wave out here? But taking free damage from these soldiers, you cannot stand next to those. So even though Zero is far away, the soldiers will still hurt you. Sion just making maximum use of his passive here this game. You got to respect it. That's what you got to do with Kog'Maw as well. So, props to him. Uptime on the passive, if we look back in the logs afterwards, would be pretty high. So that's good.
Yeah, but honestly, good signs coming out of the Pizza Rats. They're not giving up just yet. They're going for a pick on a Azir too, but Aatrox is coming soon. They need to kill quickly.
Just so much damage though he just caught. It's Aatrox shows up, but should just be able to get out here. Vi, you're gonna have to burn the flash, but yeah, nice pick. Unfortunately, nothing really to do after that pick. So you burned the Vi flash, and they didn't have to.
I don't know if it was still on cooldown for a couple seconds, but I would have liked to see the Vi just ult the Aatrox, because his Rise was TP'd in, and Zeri was right there too. They could have got an additional pick, but going back to that top lane, it was really nice from the Pizza Rats. They were able to get that initial pick onto Zyra and then just instantly pulled the trigger for more. Now Mothra is going down.
Just at this point in the game, those might look like your Raptors, but they're actually Pantheon's Raptors. They no longer belong to you. You cannot walk into your own jungle like this alone. You have to make tactical plays with your team, or else you're just going to die like that, as we see. And we're going to see it again if he tries to do it again, because that jungle is no longer his. As Fluffy trying to, let Mike know that this bot lane is no longer his, and Mike's getting a little scary though. Yeah, Mike's at the full stack throw. Has the anti-heal, has that frozen heart as well. So I think this Rise is actually in a place where he can go toe to toe with the Aatrox at this point. So that's a good lane assignment.
With that cloth armor in his inventory, looks like he is going for hourglass. So no void stab or death cap coming through still.
And Halcyon just gonna straight up fall there, just from range, taking so much damage. And now Kid Buu here is not gonna be enough to finish off Mike,
was able to get Crockett on the side.
Yeah, Beast-Sin able to pick him off, and then Dainty Taco just going to fall as well. The Bioultimate going to come through on the Beast-Sin though to finish him off. Flashes toward the Aatrox, but not going to be his salvation as Beast-Sin, or Kid Buu rather, got the W down onto the side club, but it was just to get some distance as Fluffy here in the base. It's an absolute menace, burning flash after flash as we see Mike here under the tower, he's not going to be able to defend this by himself. It should end up falling to the Smolder, execute damage. He does, and that will be an ace for the side of Captain Morgan's Lads, and a 2-0 for them on the day. Phenomenally played by Captain Morgan's Lads.
A really strong showing for the Captain Morgan's Labs. You know, got your work cut out for you next week, but definitely an unfortunate ending to this game for the Pizza Rats as they started showing signs of life and they were working together really well, but then just out of nowhere just decided to stop doing that and went back to getting picked nonstop and it just abruptly ended. But, you know, GG's was a fun series.
Absolutely. A banner, as always, here at the Gaming Tavern. And if you have a Twitch Prime in the chat, throw it our way. Give us a follow if you're not followed. If you can't Twitch Prime, that's okay. Just call the Twitch CEO. Let them know we're going to need those Primes over here on the Gaming Tavern.
If you're not following, please follow.
Give us affiliate
so that way we
ASAP.
can unlock Twitch Primes. Otherwise,
Give
thank you
us
for
a
being
follow.
here.
So yeah, no Twitch Primes here. Just head on over to Sable77 and throw your Twitch Primes over there. Well, I'll hold them.
That's
I'll
where
hold
my
on to them
Twitch
for you
Prime
and keep
went.
them warm. Keep them warm until we can give them to the tavern. Yeah, Kazuto, any final thoughts on that series there to kind of close up here?
I'll just say I'll give my personal MVP to Fluffy. Probably not
Oh,
a
yeah.
surprise to anyone as he was just really gapping this entire series. That the amount of 1v1 pressure he was just creating and drawing so many people to him it's definitely made the game so easy for Captain Morgan's Lads.
Absolutely, have to agree. And shout out to Without Pride though. I thought he played really good on the support there and that Zyra, and Boo on the Pantheon. Would have maybe looked towards Boo for the MVP that game, but caught a little too many times there in the mid game towards the end. But still played really well. Got his team where they needed to be. But Fluffy just absolute dominance on the day, like you said. And Captain Morgan's Lads with a 2-0, and I guess we'll be seeing them in the finals here next Sunday. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, should be good. Best of 5. Not sure if the time it starts is finalized, if it's going to be earlier or not. Yeah,
Work in progress. But it'll be in the Discord. Should be a link for that here on the Twitch page. And if not, it's the get it sent to you from one of the admins here if you'd like to join. But other than that, that'll do it from us here on the caster desk. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for both of the teams, Captain Morgan's Lads and Subway Pizza Rats, for playing today, giving us a phenomenal series. And we'll see you guys next Sunday for the finals with Endless Noid versus the Captain Morgan's Lads in a best of 5.